welcome to this edition of the Good Doctors Diagnose. Today is Monday, September 9th. I am Dr. Erin.
Dr. Kristen.
And today we're coming to you with a cautionary tale and some lessons about business behavior and practice from one particularly enigmatic leader that has made the news in the last few years. We're talking about Theranos.
If you're not familiar with the story of Theranos, a couple other resources that are going to help you beyond this conversation. One is the excellent HBO documentary, The Inventor.
So good.
Which we have a review of, and we'll link to that in the show notes. The other is an incredible book, which we will also link to in the show notes, by a wonderful Wall Street Journal reporter named John Carreyrou, and the book is Bad Blood.
Right.
Now, you may be thinking, I really have no desire to read a business book, or nonfiction sounds boring. I stayed up until 3 o'clock in the morning finishing this.
It is like, one of the most fascinating stories I have encountered in recent time. And I don't like to read business books either, so I'm with you.
Yeah. So essentially, this Elizabeth Holmes is the founder and former president of a company called Theranos. Elizabeth was a student at Stanford when she decided that the #1 crisis in the world that she wanted to solve was that it takes too much blood to do blood tests.
Yes.
And that needles are scary. And so she wanted to invent a way to diagnose any blood-borne disease via a finger prick. So she set about and built a multi-billion-dollar company. Was on the cover of Forbes, met the Obamas, was endorsed by everybody.
Like the Clinton Foundation funded her.
Rupert Murdoch was one of hers.
Investors all
Got it.
out the wazoo.
So here's the problem.
It can't be done.
It never worked.
Physically, biologically,
cannot be done.
Physiologically, picanology
Cannot be done.
Cannot be done. There is no science to back up her assertion that this is how we should now be testing blood. And the tech that she tried to build never worked.
So they would, sorry.
No, that's okay. So she effectively sold this false promise.
Yeah.
That this is going to revolutionize the way we test blood, and got all of this investment, was worth billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars, I think at one point, with no proof to the pudding. Absolutely zero.
Also, during a clinical trial relationship with Walgreens, they tested actual people's blood.
Yeah.
And tested it wrong. Diagnosed people with illnesses they didn't have, missed illnesses they did. This had real life, her hubris had real life consequences.
Right.
So just from that, we've got a couple quick lessons that we'd like you.
What can we learn from Elizabeth Holmes? So much.
The very, very first thing that we would encourage you as a human being to learn from Elizabeth Holmes is to have people in your life that will tell you no.
Yes.
It's very, very important.
She had one person who told her no at the very, very beginning.
And she ignored them.
She ignored that person and then proceeded to surround herself with people who never told her no.
President Josiah Bartlet in The West Wing says that the person who is smarter than you needs to be your second in command, because they need to constantly outthink you. And that's not a terrible application for most of the rest of life. The other, just real quick lesson from this is that visions and dreams are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Reality is an important thing to consider when talking about innovation.
We're big believers in pragmatism and making things practically applicable. And obviously the big glaring oversight with Theranos and Elizabeth Holmes's idea was that it was never practical. It was never something she was going to be able to do. So it's wonderful to have a vision. It's wonderful to want to change the world, but you have to have the bricks lined up to make sure that you can actually build what you say you're going to build.
And finally, it's very important to have an accountability structure within your organization. Yes. I have personally never encountered an organization that had a very good accountability structure who then also had whistleblowers.
Yeah,
so it seems you kind of get one or the other.
Which is how we found out what was happening at Theranos.
Exactly. Some very, very brave people spoke to this reporter, legitimately under threat of death in some situations. Theranos was coming after them. Again, please watch the documentary. It's an hour and a half of your life. It's a good sit. You got to do it. But there was no way, there was absolutely nobody holding anybody accountable. The only accountability was the public image. And that is not an accountability, because that's all smoke and mirrors. Mm-hmm. And therefore, in your organization, if you have not thought about an accountability structure, which by the way, your organization also includes a family. or like it doesn't have to be professional.
Right.
So in the group of people that you do things with, that everyone's working to accomplish a goal, how are people held accountable? Not only with firmness, but with grace. And how do you have pragmatic projects where things get done and somebody will tell you no?
Those are 3 key important lessons from the Cautionary case study of Theranos. We will share the links to the documentary in the book below if this is something that sounds interesting to you. If you would like to talk more about accountability and how Abbey Research can help you in any of those areas we've addressed, please do get in touch. But that is our Good Doctors Diagnose for today. We'll see you all on Wednesday.
Bye.